Yusuf pulled out a chair, which I gratefully accepted. The moment I was seated, I immediately slumped over the round table and buried myself in my forearms. My hearing had still not yet fully returned, and I was only vaguely aware of the muffled conversations that were unfolding around me. I felt nauseous and off balance, but grateful to be alive and outdoors in the temperate embrace of a London evening. After a while I raised my head into the soft hubbub of voices and began to take in my surroundings. It was a clear night. Those stars that were able to penetrate the orange haze of light pollution shone dimly in the heavens. Despite the lateness of the hour, there were many people out and about. Behind me, a pair of BMXs jumped the curve and freewheeled across the paving stones. Outside one of the takeaway restaurants, at the head of the plaza, a delivery driver sat astride a motor scooter, awkwardly guiding it forward on tiptoes. The engine gurgled into life. His headlamp swung in a wide arc across the seated patrons outside the cafe as he bumped down onto the road and accelerated into the night. The rounded tip of the plaza was overshadowed by a pale blue railway bridge that bisected the streets below at an acute angle. The high-sided trusses were made from heavy girders that were riveted into a succession of slanted parallelograms. Along the centre of the top beam, somebody had sprayed the words, "Property of Andad, R.I.P. Perp Map," in black paint. A few feet from the rear of the cafe, a skinny Victorian sewer ventilation pipe emerged from the flagstones. Its green paint was mottled with subdued corrosion, mimicking the camouflage-patterned bark of the surrounding trees. Its jagged cast-iron crown skewered the leafy canopy. The row of bike racks next to it was occupied by several padlocked mopeds. The exact number seemed to be different every time I looked. Periodically, the guttering wasp-like drone of one of these scooters would impose a temporary dominance over the conversations around the tables, before being swallowed up in the labyrinth of streets. High above our heads, a string of triangular red, white and blue bunting zigzagged back and forth between the rows of lampposts that staked out the fringes of the plaza, flapping lazily up and down on an intermittent breeze that seemed to be blowing in from the unseen river. "How do you feel now?" inquired Yusuf. I thought that I detected a note of detached sympathy in his tone, though I may have imagined it. When I answered, my voice sounded far away, as though it belonged to someone else. "But I still feel sick," I confessed. "There is heavy pressure at the bottom of my throat." My answer appeared to displease him. "I must piss," he said.